So I've always made it pretty clear that I'm not a religious guy, but I think I may have to change that because yesterday I found out that I'm God. Surprise to me. Turns out an atheist is actually God himself. But don't get too excited. I'm not like a Jesus kind of God that can do everything. I'm more like one of those minor Egyptian God kind of people. And I found this out yesterday that I have complete and utter control over insects. Just listen. Don't click off the video. Just listen. All right, so this is a miracle. This is all the proof you need, and it's clear. So here's the story. Get back into Colombia, and of course, my apartment is empty. Didn't have any food or anything because I just came back from spring break. And so yesterday, I went out to the store, get a bunch of food to stock up my apartment again. So I'm at Walmart getting all my stuff, and after I get the huge load of groceries, I'm carrying it all out to the car. And of course, it's a hot, sweltering day in mid-Missouri, and it's just thick and humid as shit all the time here. And so I'm just getting sweaty, just loading all this stuff in the car. So I'm doing it pretty haphazardly. And as I'm walking out, pushing it, that's the first time I felt it. I felt a little itch on my foot. So I reached down and I scratched. And the kind of shoes that I was wearing are Sperry's. I'll put a picture of those up here. Just kind of loose, comfortable loafer type shoes. So I just itched my foot, didn't really think about it, and kept walking. Then as I was loading all my stuff up, just kind of haphazardly throwing it into the trunk, I felt that itch on my foot again. So I reached down, scratched, didn't really think much of it. Then I went and got in the car and started driving out of the parking lot. And as I turned onto the main road to head back to my apartment, and I live about 10 minutes away from this store, I felt another itch on my foot. So I reached down to scratch. And as I was reaching down to scratch it, I actually looked down with it, because until this point I was just kind of absent-mindedly scratching an itch, as you usually do. And as I look down and as I'm moving my hand to scratch my foot, I look in and I can see a wasp halfway in my shoe and halfway out of my shoe just crawling on my foot. And if you had asked me how I thought I would react in that situation, I would think that I would have just spazzed out and just gotten into a car accident. But that really, I surprised myself, because that's not at all what I did. I sat there, I immediately turned off the music and the air conditioning, which makes no sense. It's like, I was thinking in my head, like, oh shit, if this wasp hears We Are Young on the radio one more time, he's going to blow his brains out and kill me. Friggin' murder-suicide, it'd be a shame. But I don't know why I assumed that the bug wouldn't want to hear the music or the air conditioning, but that was just my irrational self, like, oh shit, better turn everything off and try and be quiet. And so, as I'm driving, I just sit there and I'm like, what's the procedure? What do I do? Do I pull over and get out and wildly scream and shake until this wasp comes off me, or do I try and drive all the way home with it, or what do I do? And I had just gotten onto the main highway, and so it wasn't like I could just, whip back off the road or just pull onto a shoulder with all these cars whipping by me. That's not a very good idea in a college town, anyone will tell you. And so, thinking kind of quickly, after I, did the stupid thing of turning off the music and the air, I moved my right foot, which is obviously my driving foot and the one that had to be on it, over to the right, and I started driving with my left foot, which I didn't realize how much more difficult it is to drive with your left foot. Once you're so used to driving with your right foot, it's pretty difficult. But I get about halfway home, and about until I was halfway home, I was thinking in my head ways that I could kill the bug, but I was too afraid to take initiative because I didn't want to try and slap it and miss, and then it's flying around stinging me in the neck and whatnot. And it's a wasp, and so clearly it can sting me as many times as it wants, because at least bees provide something to society, honey. Wasps just live to fuck shit up. That's all that they do. They're just rabble rousers. That's all. And so about halfway through the trip back to my apartment, and it seemed like it was a friggin' hour-long odyssey, not a short little drive. I just decided, I'm like, no, I can do this. If I just keep being really still and driving slowly and not lurching, I can get all the way home with this wasp still on my foot. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably the best thing. That's the best thing. So my number one priority, I'm like, all right, just got to get home. I'll step out, and as soon as the wasp is outside, it's going to fly away for sure. There's no way it's going to sting me. I can do it. I can do it. And so I'm driving, being as slow as possible, trying not to stop all lurchy, but keep in mind I'm driving with my left foot. So to anyone watching my car, I probably looked like a goddamn lunatic or Helen Keller behind the wheel, haphazardly looking at my leg for 50% of the drive because I was too terrified to take my eyes off of it because the friggin' wasp kept tickling the bottom side of my foot and crawling under it. The worst part was when it kind of crawled under the arch of my foot, and I had to lift my foot off of the top of the bottom of my shoe, because otherwise I just would have crushed it. And I was thinking about crushing it, but I was like, oh shit, I don't want to step on the stinger. That would probably be an unpleasant surprise. And so I ended up getting back to my apartment, pulling into the drive where I park, and I'm so proud of myself at this point. I'm just feeling elated. I'm like, oh my god, this is a furious, hornet wasp. I'm going to put a picture of a wasp so you guys can see. This was not a trifling wasp. This was one of those wasps that when you see it outside, you think, you know what, I'm going to go inside. I'm not going to hang outside today. And so The most interesting thing, though, is as I pulled in, my entire mindset changed. Like, at first, I was like, I just got to get out of this car and run and get that wasp off of me. I don't want to get stung. But then, as soon as I stopped and I saw that the wasp was still chilling there on my foot as I was sitting in my car and it was off, I just felt to myself, I was like, oh yeah, you're in my world now, you son of a bitch. All my attention is turned on you. You think you can piss me off on a drive home and itch my foot and threaten to sting me and not get punished? And I was just livid. And so I stepped out of the car because I figured the best way to kill it would be outside of the car, obviously. So if I do fail, it flies away and doesn't just assault me. And so I step out of the car, and it's still on the top of my foot. And almost as though it was prepared to accept its death sentence, it crawled onto the very top, the bridge part of my foot, on my right foot. And so then what I did is I took my left foot and I decided to take one for the team, and I just stomped the shit out of my right foot, and just BAM! Just instant death for that little bastard. And it felt good, you know, because since I am God of the bugs, I don't feel that guilty about killing it, you know, but at the same time, I do feel kind of guilty about using my powers to keep it, like, sedentary that whole time, just to kill it, you know. I mean, it's a power that I'm going to have to learn to deal with, and with great power comes great responsibility. You know, who's to say in 10 years if I'll have trained some sort of wasp or hornet army to do my bidding? Who's to say, you know? The world is my oyster at this point, so if I'm not uploading as much, you guys know why. Probably formatting some form of insect army. Anyway, that's it.